it's Mitch with drywallinstruction.com. We're going to do a quick segment. Well, not so quick because this one's really important, but we're going to do a segment on drywall joint compound, also referred to as mud, most often referred to as mud. And we're going to talk about the different kinds of mud that are available. And it's really important to you because if you use the right mud, your drywall project will turn out totally different than if you use the wrong one. And so the typical experience for a person that doesn't know about drywall and they want to do a mudding and taping project, they'll go to their home improvement store and go to the drywall aisle and they'll find a product called all-purpose mud. And all-purpose mud, they'll think, great, this is all-purpose, I can use it for everything, and off they'll go. I just talked to a guy just a day or two ago on a job who spent tons of time on his job, and it turned out really not very good. I had to fix a whole bunch of stuff before I could texture it. And what he said was, I knew that there were some other colors of mud, is how he referred to it, but he said, I didn't know what they were for. That's the case about 99% of the time. So the person will go, they'll find the all-purpose mud, they'll think, great. Oftentimes the store help will tell them, yes, that's all-purpose mud, it can be used for everything. Off they go, and it just turns into a nightmare for them. So I'm going to take a few minutes to go over the different products that are available so that you'll be able to understand it. I often refer to this principle as the best kept secret in drywall because I just can't figure out how more people don't know about it and how so many people have a bad experience. So let's jump in and start with the all-purpose mud that I started talking about. All-purpose mud has a glue base or adhesive to it that's very strong, and it's meant to put the tape on and then put away and use for texture. It's not meant to sand, and that's where a lot of people get confused. Now, I looked on the internet, and just like anything else, there's tons of different opinions. They'll tell you everything. And so my information that I share in my videos is based on my 25 years experience of what works. And so I don't claim to know everything, but I will. The information that I'll share with you will get your project done, it'll simplify your project, and it'll work. So the all-purpose mud, again, glue base, strong glue base or adhesive to it, very hard to sand. We'll put our tape on it we'll put the tape on with the all-purpose mud after we water it down a little bit, get it wet. And then after that, we'll put it away until the texturing phase where we'll need the bonding agent again to get our texture to bond strong to the wall and not have a problem with that. All-purpose mud shrinks down more than topping does as well. So that just kind of gives you an idea. Let's go to topping next. Topping is a product that I would say is about 5 times softer to sand. That's not proven by tests or anything, but it's much easier to sand. It doesn't shrink as much either, so that's another benefit to topping. The topping is just a great product, and in my different video segments, I'll teach you how to put that on to make the sanding even easier, but it's a very sandable product. Once you use your topping and put that on, then you let it dry and sand it, and you'll be ready to texture. Both all-purpose and topping have light versions. The light version of each basically is just what it says. They claim that it's about 33% lighter. I believe it. And anytime you can have lighter weight in any of the trades, anything that you're using a lot of, it really helps. I have not seen any downside to using the light products. It's all I use. They still make the original product that's not the light version. There are people that must like it for whatever reason, but I have not found any downside, especially with the all-purpose. It's not weaker or that type of a thing, so I use the light version of both. There are a few different kinds of mud on top of topping and all-purpose that they're coming out with. One is called taping mud. My distributor tells me that taping mud has even a stronger glue base to it and shrinks down a little bit more. And so they make a lot of different products. They're selling them, so there must be a reason that people like them. But in most cases, all-purpose and topping will be the mud that you'll need to use to complete your project. With the normal muds, there are a couple of things that you need to watch out for. And normal muds being the muds that are pre-mixed in the box. One is that you do not want to let them freeze. It's critical not to let your mud freeze. If it freezes, you'll be able to mix it up once it thaws, and it'll look close, but it separates, something chemically in it separates, and once you get it on the wall, it will flake off and give you trouble. So don't use frozen mud. These muds cost about $9 or $10 a box. It's not an expensive product, and the money that you save is not at all worth the risk. There's one other thing that happens with premixed muds, and that is they do get old. And there's something that happens, I don't know exactly what it is, but it does stink. The mud kind of has a little different texture to it, and it does stink. And so if your mud gets old, again, don't take the risk. Throw it away, get some new mud, and so that you'll be able to be successful with your product. Aside from the premixed muds, we have a product called hot mud. And hot mud is a powder base that you mix with water, and it's an incredible product. It comes in setting times of 90, 45, 20-minute mud, and 5-minute mud. Years ago, when I started in the business, I've been at it for 25 years. Years ago, when I started doing repairs in the repair business, the fastest was 20-minute mud. And so you would mix your mud before you'd go in the house, and then you'd go in the house, you'd cut out your sheetrock or whatever, and then put your sheetrock back in, and then go get your mud and tape it and coat it, and then you'd have to sit on your behind and wait for it to set up. I was always cheating, trying to get it to rush, trying to get it to hurry up. Now they have 5-minute mud, and 5-minute mud is just great. You do all that stuff that I talked about, and then you mix your mud and tape it. About the time you get done taping and coating, it's setting up. You can wet rag it and finish your product. So hot mud is a product that's not meant to sand. Even though in the different titles of the mud and what's said on the bag, it leads you to believe that it's a sandable product. It's really not meant to sand. It's really a product that's meant to wet rag. And so that's the beauty of it. When you do repairs, you put your mud on, you wet rag your edge, you blend your edge in, and you can shoot your texture immediately. So hot mud is a great product, and for its uses, it just makes, basically it makes me as a repair guy a lot of money. It makes it possible to do in 1 trip what they used to do in 3 trips, what some still do in 3 trips. They don't know what they need to. But now, when you look at my display here, there are some different brands that are here locally. Some of the mud manufacturers are regional, some are national, but you can be sure that the consistency of the mud is going to be very similar, even if they don't have the brands that I'm showing you here. So I hope that this is helpful to you. I hope you'll recognize the importance of using the right product. Mudding and taping is actually a fun thing to do. When you get good at it, it's kind of an art. I grew up in a farming and construction background, and so the artist thing is a little awkward for me, but there is an art to mudding, and you'll see in the following segments that I do and putting the mud on, that it's really important to have the right product and know what you're doing. When you do that, it can be a dream, and it can be a really fun process. I hope you'll continue to follow us here at drywallinstruction.com.